Exhibit 10 has been produced to us in redacted form by the United States Department of Justice. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And can you tell me what this is?
It's an electronic communication that's authored by me on March 22nd, 1999.
All right. And to the extent you can read this document, are all of the, this was drafted by you, as it says.
Yes, sir.
All right. And are all the statements in this document, Exhibit 10, accurate?
Yes.
All right. Was your one of your roommates in college a gentleman by the name of Abbas Ibrahim?
No.
Did you know an individual by the name of Abbas Ibrahim?
I will not.
Excuse me?
I will not answer that name.
Why not?
I think, can I take this with me? I'll bring it back.
Yeah, but you better unzip your microphone.
Okay. That would make a lot of sense. Thank you. Excuse us for just a moment.
We're now going off the record. The time is now 2:01. We are now back on the record. The time is now 2:03.
I think before the break I asked you whether Abbas Ibrahim was a friend of yours or a longtime friend. I forget exactly what I said. And then you pointed to a portion of Exhibit 10, and I think what you were pointing at was the part that says, express promises of confidentiality, both limited and unlimited, have been granted to the following individuals. And then there's a blank space.
Yes.
Was that what you were pointing at?
I was pointing at that, yes.
Okay.
And
Yes,
with
sir.
regard to that, the government will voice a privilege under informant as well as investigative. And we will let the deponent testify in general about the document, but we just won't get into,
Without names.
without authorizing him to talk about the particular individuals.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Sure. Well, it's fair in the sense that I understand your position. I mean, whether it's fair to the defendants in this lawsuit remains to be seen. But I understand what you're saying, Jay. Without reference to the document, are you acquainted with an individual by the name of Abbas Ibrahim?
Yes, sir.
All right. And is Mr. Ibrahim an accountant?
No.
Has he ever been an accountant?
He was acting as an accountant at one time.
All right.
Beside his job as an engineer.
Okay. And has Mr. Ibrahim ever worked for a company called B.M.I?
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Okay. And do you know whether B.M.I stands for Beit-ul-Mal or House of Money?
Yes.
And it does?
It does.
All right. Now, B.M.I was, and some of the people involved in it, was under investigation by the Chicago office of the FBI, correct?
I cannot comment on that.
All right. There was an operation that was being run out of the Chicago FBI office by the name of VulgarBetrayal, correct? That was the name of the investigation, correct?
Yes.
All right. And this document, Exhibit 10, relates to the VulgarBetrayal investigation, correct?
Yes.
And you were writing to advise that you had had a conversation between yourself and, as you described it in this document, a longtime friend, that the conversation taking place in Falls Church, Virginia, correct?
Yes, sir.
And why did you advise the Chicago office of this contact?
Well,
I
unfortunately,
want to object to that again. That's a pending investigation going into matters which are privileged.
Okay. If you turn to the second page of this, and by the way, before I get, if he objects and says you can't answer, can I assume that you're not going to answer?
Yes.
Okay. So
Yes,
I don't have
definitely.
to keep, so I don't have to keep saying.
Yes.
You know, did you hear
definitely.
him?
If he tells me not to answer something, I will not answer it.
Okay. And if he, sometimes people object and they just object because the question is a bad question, but I take it that his objections.
No, he's not objecting as my attorney. He's objecting on the behalf of the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the U.S. government.
So if he opens his mouth to object, you're not answering.
I'm
right?
not going to answer.
Okay. That'll save us some time.
Yes.
Okay. If you turn to the second page, there's a whole big, huge. Well, there's about half the page or half the typewritten page is blocked out. Is blacked out. I take it. I'm not asking you to tell me what it is just yet, but I take it you know generally what is in that blacked out portion, correct?
Yes.
All right. Now I'm telling you to ask me what's in that blacked out portion.
I cannot tell you.
And because?
Because the Bureau said I'm not authorized to release this.
And they haven't told you that in words, but just by the fact they blacked it out.
By the fact they blacked it out, that means I'm not authorized. No one else is authorized to reveal it.
Okay. Now, a part that they haven't blacked out is that this person who is a longtime friend of yours, you do acknowledge that the person you're talking about is a longtime friend, right?
Is a longtime friend, yes.
Yes. All right. And he told you he has an uneasy situation about the uneasy feeling about the situation, and should he resign. And then it says here. Special Agent Abdel Hafiz advised the person that he, Abdel Hafiz, is not aware of any investigation regarding those individuals nor the companies he mentioned. Did I read it accurately?
Yes, you read it accurately.
And is that true that you told this longtime friend of yours that you don't know of any investigation?
He was asking me if they're under investigation.
And you told him you don't know.
And he asked me other things in that blacked out part, and that's the answer to it.
All right. But you did say that you are not aware of any investigation regarding those individuals nor the companies that this person mentioned, correct?
Yes.
All right. I thought it was the policy of the FBI never to deny or confirm that there was an investigation going on.
Yes.
That's the policy.
That's the policy. I did not tell him there is or there is not. I said I'm not aware of any. I'm in Texas.
Excuse me?
I'm in Texas.
Okay. You're in Texas, he's in Chicago, and you're saying, hey, I don't know of anything going on, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you don't think that's a violation of policy,
No,
even
it's
saying
not.
that much?
No, it's not.
Okay. Then it says, Special Agent Abdel Hafiz advised this person to remain with his employment as long as he desires, and there should not be any reason to be alarmed. Now, if you're under investigation, isn't that reason to be alarmed? I mean, if the FBI is investigating me, I'm pretty alarmed about it. But there wasn't any reason to be alarmed, you said to him,
Yes.
right? Wasn't that a violation of policy, giving him a
No.
sense of false security there?
No.
You found out shortly after this that, of course, his company was under investigation.
Yes.
Right? Okay. And you advised this longtime friend of yours to, quote, continue carrying out his duties as usual, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And why were you given advice to your longtime friend about continuing to remain in his employment, no reason to be alarmed, and just keep going about your duties as usual? Why were you doing that?
I'm going to object to that. That's going into investigative sources and methods and operational matters.
Okay. Okay. Was this longtime friend the person that Mr. Wright asked you to record without his knowledge?
Once again, I'm going to have to object if it's an investigative matter dealing with informant issues.
Okay. Have you ever heard the name Solomon Bieri? B-I-H-I-E-R-I?
Yes.
All right. Was Mr. Bieri ever the subject of a FBI terrorism investigation?
I cannot answer that.
Did Mr. Wright ever ask you to secretly record Mr. Solomon Bieri?
I cannot answer that.
Do you know whether Mr. Bieri had any affiliation with B.M.I, the House of Money?
Yes.
All right. And what was Mr. Bieri's relationship to B.M.I?
I knew he was the president of the B.M.I.
And did you know that your longtime friend Abbas Abraham worked for Mr. Bieri as an accountant?
As an engineer and a part-time accountant, yes.
Okay.